Hey guys, it's Annie, and today I have Stevie Wright with me. Hi, Stevie.
Hey. So I'm sure you've heard Annie talk about the Hungry for Happiness certification that she did. She is now a life coach, killing it. So I did that certification as well just a year before Annie, and I am one of the mentors in that certification program. And I'm a self-love coach, so I specialize in really helping women heal their anxiety. A lot of the women who come to me are struggling with anxiety, unworthiness, feelings of disconnection, overthinking, really living in their heads and out of their body. And so what I help people do is get back into their bodies, really change the stories that they have learned from childhood, conditioning, learned behavior, the shit that's, do you cuss on your
You can.
Okay. The shit that's not true, the shit that does not serve us, that we've taken on from parents and from society and from whoever. And we really work on getting rid of that. And Louise has things to say about that.
She has a lot of trauma.
Yeah,
she needs to work through.
So that's what I do, and I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Before we get into that, I did have a giveaway in my last video for the book, The Miracle Morning. So the winner is on the screen, and I'm also going to be doing another giveaway in this video. Actually, we're going to do a double
joint giveaway.
Right. So I'm giving away a copy of the book, You Are a Badass.
I'm giving away a free entrance to my anxiety masterclass. This is a course that I made that I'm really, really proud of. It is how to deal, heal, and transform your anxiety. The testimonials are insane, and I'm gonna give a free masterclass away, which is worth $150.
To win, you have to be a subscriber, hit the like button, so click it, and then also leave in the comments your name, age, what state or country you're from, and I also want to know, after watching this video, what is the one biggest thing you took away from it? And that's how you enter. So I guess let's get into this anxiety talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So I think anxiety is, it's an interesting thing because when people come to me saying they have anxiety, so many of us struggle with it. Half the friggin' population, you know, if not more. So a lot of people struggle with anxiety, and what I really love chatting with people about when they first come to me, and I hear people say, I'm so anxious, you know, like, oh, I have such anxiety, I'm so anxious. And I understand what they mean, but I actually challenge them when people say that, because you're not anxious. It's not who you are. And I know there's people watching me saying, fuck you, I hate you.
Yeah.
You're not in my head right now. Like, try being in my head.
I was one of those people.
And I get it, because I'm someone who's been riddled with anxiety for most of my life, just really crushed under the weight of what people think. And when I learned this this idea that that anxiety isn't who we are. Anxiety is like, it's like clouds. You know, clouds are in the sky and they come and they go, and sometimes they stay for a while and they go again and they come again and they go away. But the sky isn't clouds. Anxiety is the same way. You, Annie, are not anxiety. I, Stevie, am not anxiety. I experience anxiety. I experience pretty strong anxiety sometimes, but it's not who I am. And I think the problem with identifying so closely with it and saying, I am so anxious, you're really holding on to that identification. You're really holding on to that that notion that you are anxiety. And when we're so close to it and identifying with it, there's no space to actually kind of take like a little bit of a bird's eye view and take a 30,000 foot view and say, okay, what's actually going on here? Like, looking down, like, okay, I can see I have anxiety. I can see that there's some stress going on in my life, but actually, you know, it's not me. It's not who I am. I wasn't born as anxiety. And so when you create that space, it gives you the opportunity to understand what's beneath the anxiety, what's actually going on underneath it, and work with that thing beneath it, rather than kind of working with the symptom of anxiety. I truly believe that anxiety isn't the problem. Really what the problem is fear. And I really believe that the root cause of all anxiety is fear. And that could be fear of failure, fear of missing out, fear of being seen, fear of success, you know, this, that, and the other. There's so many things that we get scared of. And so if you're experiencing anxiety, let's go into like the underlying fear. Let's go into like what's underneath the anxiety, because the anxiety is just the symptom. So if you just take a moment to get quiet and pause and check in with your heart and have a little bit of awareness, you understand like what am I scared of right now? You know, what's happening in my life, or what's been happening and going on in my life that's causing a low level, kind of like low vibe sense of fear that I am not dealing with, and that's how it's coming out, is anxiety. And you know, I want to differentiate too between some people who are like, no, I don't have anxiety, and maybe you don't have panic, right? Maybe you don't have panic attacks, and I'm sure a lot of people watching do struggle with panic attacks. Maybe it's like just like a kind of lower level. Worry is anxiety. Overthinking is anxiety. Overworking is anxiety. Perfectionism is anxiety. Just these low level sense of fear and worry, that is a form of anxiety. And so the feelings of it feels like chaos. You know, it feels like, I mean, to put it in not words, it feels to me like brrr, you know, it feels like buzzy, it feels heightened, it feels like uppity. So that's the feeling of it. I think thoughts are so important when it comes to anxiety, because if you're not paying attention to the things that you're thinking day in and day out every single day, it's going to be hard to get out of that place if you're thinking disempowering thoughts. I think it's important to really see our thoughts as separate beings and separate entities, and again, similar to the not identifying with anxiety, not identifying with your thoughts too. See your thoughts as like these separate beings is the only way I can describe it, because if you think about it, there are these different energies that kind of have glommed onto us since childhood or since, you know, different things have happened to us in our lives, and they stick with us. And so when I have the thought of like, you're never gonna get there, you don't know how to do it, you can't do it alone, when I have, again, this is not perfect, but when I have the awareness to notice it, be like, no, I know you wanna go there, I know you wanna go this way, I know you wanna go into shame and judgment and scarcity and fear. Let's not. Let's choose a different way. Let's choose love and compassion and kindness and grace. That can just be as simple as stop, drop, and roll, one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, and tuning in and being like, actually, no. Taking a deep breath and saying, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You don't have to do anything more. You're gonna figure it out. You don't have to prove yourself. Creating those more empowering, loving, kind thoughts. And that, I mean, beyond anxiety, you guys, that's self-love.
Yeah.
That's self-love right there, is choosing to come back to kindness over and over again.
And I'm so happy that you brought that up, because I just mentioned in my last video how important it is to talk to yourself and have dialogue with yourself and like parent yourself and say the things that you want other people, like the things that you wish another person would say to you, you can say that to yourself and it still feels so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Of course, and it actually, we, like the reparenting you were talking about, we reparent ourselves in a way that maybe we didn't get as kids. So what it, like tuning into that inner child version of you, like the 3, 5, 7-year-old, 16-year-old version of you that's taken on all the trauma and all the wounding and all the belief systems and all the A, B, and C. What did 5-year-old Annie really need? What did 5-year-old Stevie really need? I really needed someone to tell me that I was enough.
Same. I needed someone to tell me that I could do anything that I wanted to do, like as far as aspirations and dreams go. Like I needed someone to encourage me towards that.
Yeah, I needed someone to tell me that it was all gonna be okay, and that, I'm just deciding how much I wanna share here. I'll just share. Honestly, it's someone to tell me that it's not my fault that he left, you know? And just putting that out there, and really just like not needing, I think that's a lot of where my worth stuff comes from, is not feeling like I need to prove myself in order to be loved. And so, you know, I think anxiety really is such a huge topic, because there's like the really like surface level anxiety of like going to the dentist or like the guy not texting you back. But then there's the deep kind of more rooted belief systems that affect us.
Yeah. For me, like just joining the Hungry for Happiness program, one of the first things in the program is like feel into that feeling. When I heard that, I'm like, are you crazy? My life's going well. You want me to put my attention to this lingering heaviness in my chest?
To the pain.
Why would I do that? Because every time I connected with my body, I noticed like there was this constant pressure on my chest, this like heaviness when I brought my attention there. I'm like, how does that help anything to feel that?
Right.
But it's so important to not suppress it. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know I saw a few comments saying like, oh yeah, for me, whenever I get anxiety, I just like will go to meditate and do whatever I can to make it go away. And I'm like, that's kind of avoiding.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's such a good point. Like a lot of times we do all the things to not feel, and even like quote unquote healthy ways of living our lives, meditation and yoga and journaling on all these things, sometimes they can actually be spiritually bypassing. Like, oh, I'm just not gonna feel that, so I'm gonna meditate it away. And I'm not saying meditation's great, obviously, but there is an element of like, actually, what would it be like to feel this and not try to get myself out of it prematurely.
Yeah.
And maybe there's like people watching right now who are like, absolutely not, go fuck yourself. This is not about like blowing your whole circuit and nervous system open and doing this treacherous, horrible thing. It's not about that. It's actually just about being with the pain and loving yourself through the pain and knowing that actually my pain is the portal to my truth, my pain is the portal to my power, and my pain is my portal to my healing. And you know, Sam, our mentor, who runs Hungry for Happiness, she always tells us in order to heal, we have to feel. So if that looks like just, you know, talking to the anxiety when you're in like low level fear or something, it's like, what are you here to tell me? You know, what do you need? How can I love you more? What are you scared of? What's the pain teaching you? And I think that's really that's how healing happens, is that we allow ourselves to feel the love and joy, and we allow ourselves to get messy too.
Yeah, I feel that. I was just having like a little several day stretch of anxiety. Before, I would sit in the thoughts and like go on my phone and do everything to distract. And that just kind of prolongs the suffering. But I decided, like, you know, I'm going to process this. I'm going to get out of my head. I'm going to sit here and feel this. I'm not going to scroll on my phone. I told myself, like, I got you. It's okay. I sat and I felt. And I did that for several days.
Yeah.
And
until it passes.
Until it passed. And in the past, that would have stretched out for weeks, this like anxious state of because it's fighting it.
Yeah, you know? It's the opposite, right? Like you think that if I push it off, then it'll go away. But the pushing it off makes it stay longer.
And it'll come back up.
Right. Again. Come back to bite you in the ass again. Yeah. Whereas if you feel and you're like, ow, 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 shit, this hurts.
I got you.
I got you. That's actually how it clears. You know, that's how it dissipates. And that's where you find the messages and the answers, and that's where you really begin to trust yourself.
What about for the people who are saying, like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. You're like downplaying anxiety. This is BS.
Well, this is gonna get more triggering. Okay. So listen, I have trauma. We all have trauma. If you're saying that my anxiety is mine, this is who I am, I can't do anything about it, you're essentially saying that your life is out of your hands and you are powerless and you are the victim and life is happening to you. And that's not a very empowering place to be. And I understand, because here's the other thing, is that victimhood feels comfortable and it feels so cozy, believe me, I know, but it's actually not fun because you're stuck in your shit. You're stuck in your limiting thoughts, you're stuck in the I can't do it, you're stuck in the this is always just gonna be here. And so I just encourage you guys, if you're in that place, to just, what if there were another way? Just what if? Like, I'm not saying it works right now, maybe you're not convinced and that's okay. Just what if? You know, what if there was a more empowering way to approach anxiety and approach self-love? What if you could open your heart to that narrative and that opportunity? Because I think it's it's a really cool place to be when you are in your queen energy or your king energy if you're a man watching this. But for me, like when I'm in my queen energy, yeah, I have to take responsibility. Yeah, there's no victimhood. Yeah, it's a lot to take on. And I feel the most powerful. I feel the most in control. I feel the most like badass. You know, like that's when money comes. That's when I'm open to receiving all the love and the opportunities and like the abundance and like all the juiciness of life. That's when that comes. But when you're in princess mode and you're in victim mode, that shit can't come because everything's happening to you. So I encourage anyone to think like that life is just out of my hands, to reconsider, because there is so much power and opportunity when you actually take responsibility for every aspect of your life.
And that takes reading personal development books, like getting a coach, getting into therapy. There are so many resources that you can start to make those changes. For me, I did start in the personal development book world, and that really pushed me further and further and further and further. I was a depressed mess. I slept every day until noon. My surroundings, no joke, my room looked like I was going to be a hoarder. I'm not even using that word lightly. I would watch TV anytime that I didn't have to babysit or work, just to not deal with reality. Like, I was there. And if I can go from there to here, and you've had your own stuff too, like, it's possible, but you have to take accountability for your life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to mention too, like the thing about getting help, I think there's so much shame in anxiety. There's so much shame in like depression and things, and like we want to hide. We want to like go into like this mode of, no, I'm fine, and if I ask for help, I'm a burden, or if I ask for help, I'm weak, or if I ask for help, like A, B, and C. Let's like take the shame off of it, because so many of us are struggling with it. So many of us are freaking suffering, you know, and life does not have to be a struggle. There's so much joy to be had, and we don't have to be suffering this way and living this way. And if you're just open to receiving help and asking for support and asking for what you need and knowing that your needs matter and that there's another way, that is like the most beautiful first step. And again, if that looks like coaching, therapy, mentorship, books, podcasts, like just starting with a journaling practice, you know, it can be so easy, so cheap, so accessible. It does not have to be some monumental decision. It can be easy.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps. But is there anything else you think? Or do you think we covered everything for this video at least?
I think we're gonna have to come back for video 2.
Part 2.
Ask all your questions and we'll go deeper into video 2. How about that?
Yes, ask us what you want to know. Also, if you want to enter the giveaway for the book as well as the anxiety masterclass, do not miss out on that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stevie, I'm so happy that you're here for it.
Love you.
All right, guys.
Bye, everyone.